All right, and welcome to Football After Hours, our final show of the off season. Joined by Brandon, Shane, and Scoop to cover the NFC and AFC West. How are you guys doing today?
All right.
Doing great.
Pretty good.
It's a very warm day here, so let's talk about some warm weather teams, I guess. Well, some of them. Starting with the AFC side, or starting with the NFC side, and
No,
let's
AFC
begin.
first.
Are we want to do AFC first?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let's do AFC first then.
We decided as a council.
We decided as a council.
We voted without you.
That's fine. That's fine. The AFC side will begin with the Kansas City Chiefs. Shane, go ahead.
Well, the Chiefs. Yeah. Look, I think they've been to 3 straight Super Bowls, 7 straight AFC championships or something crazy, and 8 straight division titles, whatever it is.
I think it's 9.
Or
Is
9.
it 9? Oh my god!
I mean, whatever it is, it's ridiculous. Yeah, whatever. I guess it would have been Denver in 2016. So yeah. But I think this year we start to see them decline a little bit. I'm not saying that they're going to be a bad team by any means, but last year's season they went 15-2, and I went back and looked at all their one score. They went 11-0 in one score games last year. That doesn't happen ever. So
unless you're the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's, or let me rephrase it. It's not something you can replicate in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at it. It's like I went back. I saw this video showing, of those 11 games, 6 of them should have been losses. It was just some totally fluke thing that happened that resulted in them winning. So I was like, okay, and we knew. I mean, we called it all along. It was like, this is the worst 15-win team ever. And I think this year, their roster's a little worse now. I mean, you still have your big 3: Chris Jones, Mahomes, and Kelsey, but Kelsey is a shadow of what he once was. Mahomes has not been very good the last 2 years, and Chris Jones is getting up there in age. So, and one of the biggest problems last year was their offensive line, and they lost Joe Thuney, who was, I would say, their first or second best lineman. So, also not to mention losing Justin Reed. That's big.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have some good, star guys like Creed Humphrey or, Trent McDuffie, for instance. And, and I think some underrated guys like George Karlaftis. But outside of that, it's just there's not a lot here. And, there's not a lot of depth, I guess I should say. And, and their number one receiver, Rashee Rice, probably going to miss quite a bit of time with the suspension. Not to mention he's coming back from ACL. So, I mean, you never know how that'll go. But
that hearing is next Saturday, correct? I believe so.
Something.
I thought that was September 30th.
Is it? Oh, it's September 30th. Yeah, so he might miss some time in the mid-season, which is rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, either way, so yeah, I mean, I think I think this year they probably win 11. I mean, just based off their roster and how it's sort of slowly declined year after year, and and not to mention the divisions, just it's getting better, which we'll get to more of that shortly here. And they're not going to win a bunch of one-score games like that again. They're not going to get that lucky. So I think they probably win 11, and then
Their over-under's right at 11.5, which I think makes some sense.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think 11 is probably where they end up, and then and that's all I'm gonna say for now.
Yeah, over-under 11.5, guys. So Shane's going under.
I mean, I would say barely over. I'll say 12. But
Kid, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
12, yeah. Scoop.
I'm kind of similar with that. I also like was said earlier. Just they had some luck last year. Like they got to 15 wins, but you could argue some of how they played in some of those games. You could argue that they should have been, or not that they should have, but they could have easily been an 11-win team last year. So I think that I agree. I'll do this. I'll do a soft over. But again, like you're playing in the division now. I mean, that is now a Broncos defense that is no joke. I wouldn't be surprised if that defense alone siphoned one win away from them.
Yeah. Shane, who's your X factor for this team?
That's a great question. I think a lot of it's going to depend on what is that loud background noise?
Does someone have their AC going loud?
It's Scoop's fan, I think.
Yeah, that's me because I'm in Mississippi, so it's like 97 degrees here.
It's all hot for all of us.
That sounds miserable. But I'm going to say, I mean, I guess Chris Jones. Well, no. I'm not going to say Chris Jones. I'm going to say, God, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I guess.
Can we come back
Trent
around?
McDuffie. I'll say
Okay,
no. I'll say Trent
McDuffie's
McDuffie.
good.
I'll show some love to the former Husky. I mean, he's, the rest of the defense should be fine, but he's kind of the one guy that's just like holding the secondary together with duct tape. So, I feel like he's going to have quite a bit to pick up, quite a bit of slack to pick up. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good selection. Scoop, what do you have?
Am I allowed to go a little bit out of left field here and say John Runyon, the NFL rules coordinator? Because I think that he's going to have about as much influence on how the season goes as anyone, based on what he decides with
oh my God.
the obviously the Rashi Rice, but also some of the other components to that as well.
I love that. I'll accept that. That's good. Brandon, what do you have?
I think with it was hard initially looking at this roster, but I was thinking like along the lines of Shane, and I was like, wow, who can I pick here? And with Rice out, I think it becomes obvious it's going to be Xavier Worthy. They need a big year out of him, especially if Rice is going to miss at least a month. We'd assume. Last year, like Worthy was pretty much their best postseason target. He had 3 touchdowns in the postseason last year. So, I mean, we know that speed kills, and they've had speed guys in the past. Pacheco's a speedy running back, but he's declined. Obviously, that's due to injury, and obviously before him, at wide receiver was Tyreek Hill. speed guy, impact player, all that kind of stuff. So when you look at what they have, I think that Xavier Worthy has to fit that mold of being that high impact speed guy that they just need for the offense, because you cannot have this offense just relying solely on Travis Kelce like you pretty much did last year. So it's going to be ugly football if you do that, and all those one score games are gonna flip the other way. So they're going to need a big year out of Xavier Worthy.
Yeah,
Rasheed Rice is another guy whose speed kills, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh dear God!
I had to.
I don't know why it took me a second.
Yeah, it took me a bit too. I'll go defense. I'll go Karlaftis. I think defensive line is going to be really important for this team. We actually have some pretty solid offensive lines in this division that we'll get to. So it's going to be interesting to see how this D-line performs. All right, Scoop, I'll get you started on the LA Chargers. Go ahead.
I'm really glad that I was the LA Chargers for this one, because y'all know I have strong feelings about them. Y'all know I have strong feelings about just the fact that I feel like, I don't know, it's obvious to anybody who follows football, particularly quarterbacks, that there are different quarterbacks in NFL media who, for some reason, just get fourth, fifth, sixth chances, and others who just don't get that same leash, that same rope. And for whatever reason, Justin Herbert is this sort of golden child who is going to get until his 13th year for them to acknowledge that, not that he's a bad quarterback, but that he's not this sort of golden arm, golden boy, second coming of Peyton Manning that they build him to be for so long. And again, we've got Jim Harbaugh in there now. He's a very prototypical old school coach. He's run it down your throat, play defense, and doesn't. He's not typically a guy who's going to have, even no matter what quarterback he has, he's typically not going to have his QB throw the ball 40, 50 times a game if he can avoid it. That's not who he is or what he is. But excuse me. But in terms of their roster, they brought in Harris. Y'all know I'm a Harris fan. But their O line now. There's been some questions now on the health of their O line. I do like Mekhi Becton. I do like Joe Alt. When those guys are healthy. But there's some questions about that. So I wonder, is that going to become another excuse when it comes to Justin Herbert? They brought in Naheem Miller Hines, as he goes by now. So I think they got some nice backs. Back there, for lack of a better way of phrasing it. I do think that they have that. I do like some of the guys, even though they're getting a little bit long in the tooth. I like some of the guys they have on defense, like Khalil Mack. But again, I look at this team as the number 3 roster in this division, and I don't expect them to be really anything greater than that, unless there's a massive windfall in either Kansas City or Denver.
Yeah. Who's your X factor?
My X factor, not really to go. I don't really want to go like all that chalky on it and say Herbert. I'm trying to stay away from quarterbacks, but in the spirit of doing that, I might say I just mentioned him, so I guess I'll say Joe Alt. Because obviously, like I mentioned, they don't have Rashawn Slater now for the season, so we'll get to see what happens with Alt taking on a bigger role, how that goes on to affect both the running game as Harbaugh wants to use it, and Justin Herbert. Are we looking at the end of the season? Are they 7-10, where Herbert played very well most of the season statistically wise, but played poorly in 2 big games where they needed him to kind of be relied on more? And then are we going to hear, he didn't have his number 7 offensive lineman and, his 16th receiver, so how could we have expected him to be as good as he's supposed to be?
The over-under is 9.5 for this group.
For me personally, I'm taking the under on that. Again, I just don't trust Herbert to make a team around him better than it is, or better than it's supposed to be. And so I think that I kind of see this being like an 8-win team or so.
Shane said 10. Okay, that's interesting. Brandon, what do you have for them?
Yeah, I'm thinking 10. The over unders are pretty spot on, I think, for this year for this division. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's 10.
Yeah, I'll go 10 as well. I don't think Scoop is necessarily wrong either,
No,
that
yeah.
this team could take a step back. Shane, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I think it's, I'm just looking at the roster right now. I mean, they've got, I mean, the defense minus Joey Bosa is largely the same, which that is definitely a big loss. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, they were already a pretty good defense last year, and they got some good backs in there, which is, I mean, that's what they like. I think they have a pretty solid one with Ladd McConkey at wide, but my biggest concern really is Rashawn Slater. I mean, that's I think people are underestimating how big of a loss that is. I mean,
it's massive, and he just signed the new contract too.
Yeah, and with an injury like that, he's not going to be the same. Sadly, I mean, unless some miracle occurs. But so yeah, I mean, it's just it's frustrating because I mean, this is, when healthy, probably the second best tackle duo in the league behind Philly. But like now he's out. So I mean, yeah, and Mekhi Becton and Joe Alt, who are great, but outside of that, I mean, especially when you're looking at the left side of the line, it's like,
yeah,
so yeah, I mean, this is, I think that's really the only big thing. So, it's largely the same other than Slater and Bosa. So, I mean, it probably takes away a win. I don't know. I don't see them having a losing record, though, because, I mean, Harbaugh never has, and either of the Harbaughs, like, losing seasons don't exist for them. So,
yeah, that is very true.
So that's part of it, too, but yeah.
Who are you taking for X Factor?
Well, I wanted to take Joe Alt, but
I mean, you still could.
You still can.
Are we allowed to double dip?
I think you can for offensive linemen. I can exempt that.
All right, fine. Good call, Scoop.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon, who are you taking?
It's I originally was thinking about Khalil Mack because losing Joey Bosa means he has to step up. But the more I think about it, and the more I kind of look at this roster right now, I mean, we know that Harbaugh likes to run the ball. That's been his MO his entire coaching career, and they drafted Amarian Hampton in the first round for a reason. They want him to be the guy. They want him to pound the rock, and they need to take the pressure off of Justin Herbert a little bit if they're going to go anywhere. You can't ask Justin Herbert to throw 45 times a game every game. It's not going to work. It's why they haven't won in all the years he's been a quarterback. It's why they haven't even won playoff games. They throw the ball way too much. So for me, usually I don't go offense, or let alone twice in a row, but it's got to be Amarian Hampton. They need a big season on him because last year it was J.K. Dobbins, but he got hurt. If J.K. Dobbins didn't get hurt, I think the Chargers would have been better off.
He had a great year last year too.
Yeah, it was good up until he got hurt. He was going to be like a Pro Bowl, hell, maybe even All-Pro running back. So it's on his shoulders to carry that running back room because I don't like the rest of their running. Like I really don't. They're just okay. Like Najee Harris is a slow bruiser, but Adam knows. With his time with the Steelers, he didn't really like him like that. He wasn't the greatest. He had some ball security issues. He was, his vision wasn't good. Hassan Haskins, it's like, okay, that's, there's a connection there with playing for Harbaugh. I believe he did at Michigan. Um, and then you've got like Naheem Miller Hines. Now, like he was good, with the Colts for maybe about half a season years ago, but it's not much. So Marion Hampton's the guy. He's that first round pick, so he's got to be the X factor for me. He's got to take the pressure off of Herbert.
Yeah. I'm going to go Ladd once again this year. I was really happy with my pick last year for him, but yeah, this receiving room, I mean, they brought back Keenan Allen. That's somewhat helpful, but of course he's not the same player he once was. That's and Johnston. I mean, he still had drop issues in the preseason. So, yeah, that's it's on Ladd's shoulders once again. All right, Brandon, I'm going to give you your Oregon Duck and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me the better Ducks quarterback. Because I mean, you guys know I've sang Bo Nix's praises when he got drafted, and we all said that even during the draft. We said Bo Nix would be best suited in Denver. We all knew that. What happened throughout the season? He just got better and better and better, and they made the playoffs for the first time since Peyton Manning was there. So, that's not just the fact that they have a good roster around him. That was largely his play, especially the back half of the season. With Denver, I love what they've done to build a defense, a winning defense. Both in real life and in fantasy last year, they were the number one, I think, fantasy defense.
Yeah.
But they were literally a top 5 defense last year, I think, or even top 3. I love the fact that they've got guys that they literally have they have the defensive player of the year and Pat Surtain. I love the fact that they seem to have guys on both sides of the ball that can really give Bo Nix a chance to be. I don't think it's going to be no second year sophomore slump like it is for other quarterbacks. Like Bo Nix, to me, like we even saw it in his time in Oregon, he got better, and especially in the second year. Like I feel like in Denver, it's just going to be an even better second year. I look at what they've got, and when I look at it, I mean, I like it. I mean, their running back room needs a little bit of work, but I don't hate it. And the thing is, they like to use a running back by committee a little bit, so I think that they're at least serviceable. But he's built a rapport with Troy Franklin from his Oregon days. Last year, throughout the season, he got more and more comfortable in an NFL offense with Troy Franklin. So I mean, their connection should be good this year. Cortland Sutton is great. A.T. Perry's had his moments when he was a Saint, but he's got his moments. I don't hate him. So I think the wide receiver room is okay. I think it's good enough. I mean, he made it work last year. He can make it work again this year. Tight end room they added. They have Evan Ingram now, which I think is better than what they had. I mean, Adam Troutman's okay, but he's not a pass catching tight end. Evan Ingram is, and Evan Ingram, if you can get out of Evan Ingram what you got back in 2023 in Jacksonville, if you can get that out of him, that would be a massive boost to that offense. Bo Nix, I think, is going to put up good numbers. Yeah, he's a very quick learner. We saw that both at Oregon and last year. Like there wasn't he went through growing pains the first month, and everybody was calling him a bust. And then after that, he flipped the switch. It was like boom, he just took off. So that's the reason why he finished. What was it? He was I think runner up for offensive rookie of the year. I think behind Daniels.
Behind Daniels,
yeah.
So I like it. Their offensive line I think is really good. I like Garrett Bowles. I mean McGlinchey's old. I like Alex Forsyth. I like a lot of these. A few of these guys. I just look at their roster as a whole, and there's a lot to like. I mean, they drafted Jedi Barron, who a lot of people liked in the draft, who I think is going to be really good. Out of Texas. I think bringing in Hufanga from the Niners is massive. He's a really good strong safety.
And Greenlaw.
Greenlaw, yeah. Niners
and Greenlaw
everywhere.
and you have another year of PS2. As I'm looking at the roster right now, I mean, Zach Allen is great. I just like at every position, it feels like that even if they have guys that you might not know, or hell, I mean, I'm even missing guys. I can't believe I skipped over him. Nick Benito, outside linebacker. Um, Alex Singleton, who's been really good for them, who I liked in Philly years ago, but I like, yes, I have to bring up the Eagles again. Sorry. Um, but just to get the point across.
Shame on you.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
But the thing is like,
you can go all Eagles in 2 weeks. So
yeah,
hang on.
but at least I have experience talking about that player. So it's like they've got veterans at almost every position. They have literally Pro Bowl, All Pro type players at almost every position. They're really building something around Bo Nix, and that's just going to make Bo Nix more comfortable going into this season. So I don't see how, if they're saying the over under for the Chargers is 9.5, I would say it's got to be 10.5 for Denver.
It's also 9.5. It's
Is
also
it really
9.5.
also?
Yep.
No, they
It
are
is.
better than LA.
Slam the over.
There's no way. Yeah, I'm slamming the over. That's an 11-win team. Hell, that could be a 12-win team. That's how much I believe in Denver. I legit think Denver, and this is like blasphemy because Kansas City's won the last 9, division titles. Denver can give Kansas City a run for their money in that division. That's how much I believe in Denver. I mean, listen, I'll fall flat on my face if I'm wrong, but what I saw last year out of that entire team, I loved it from start to finish. So, I think the sky's the limit for them. I mean, I really do. I don't hate, and, every position, like I said, every position has guys that are at the bottom end, they are serviceable. And then at the top end, they're just great. So, I think that, the running back room is their weakness. But that's got to be that to me. That's an 11-win team. That's easily an 11-win team. I don't think there's any question about that, especially with how good that defense is, a top 3 defense. So, if I had to think of, I mean, we're gonna get to X factors. If I had to think of an X factor, I mean, it's hard not to pick Bo Nix because it's the second year, it's the sophomore slump mentality, but. They've got so many guys that I really, really like. But, I'm going to go with a guy that I just mentioned that I really think is going to have an even bigger year than we realize. And he had a great year last year. And I just talked about him as the outside linebacker. I like Nick Benito. He's that guy for the last 2 years. This is a guy that, mind you, back in 2023, he played in 15 games, but he only started 4 of them and had 8 sacks by the end of the season. I mean, last year he had 13.5. He forced. I mean, I'm just looking at the stats because I forgot even how good he was. Because we don't get a lot of Broncos games out on the East Coast, but I was still paying attention. But 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery for a touchdown. He had 3 pass deflections. He had an interception. He had an interception for a touchdown. So. He did everything defensively for that team. And I think, between him and PS2, those are the 2 big anchors on that defense. So when you add Hufanga, when you add 2 former Niners who are basically all Pro Bowl type players to a defense that's really good like that, they're going to shut a lot of teams down, a lot of them, no matter how good they are. But Nick Benito's my X factor because, if they're going to go anywhere, he's going to be the guy that's going to be racking up sacks and really disrupting plays in the backfield and making it causing havoc for the rest of the defense to shine. So I think he's going to be the X factor for me.
Shane, go ahead.
I think Denver wins 12 games and wins the AFC West this year.
Hey!
Damn, that's bold.
Because,
I like it. I like the boldness there.
And here's why. Denver won 7 last year. Sorry, won 10. They won 10 last year. And that was in a season where the first 2 months of the year, they looked pretty bad because Bo Nix was still trying to figure out the Sean Payton offense, which is understandable. It's very complicated. And now, in year 2, he's not going to have that learning curve. He's already been in there, and he has the consistency down. And, I mean, you look at some of their biggest holes last year. You had like tight end, for instance. I mean, Evan Ingram's not amazing, but compared to what they had last year, they had probably the worst tight end room in the entire league. Right, so I mean, there's that. Yeah, Cortland Sutton's great, like Brandon said. I think it's probably a top 5 offensive line.
Yep.
Between Garrett Bowles, Mike McGlinchey, Quinn Miners, the right guard is really good. And then just adding so much depth on defense with Greenlaw, Hufanga, and adding it to the mix of guys like Zach Allen and PS2. I mean, it's just that it was the top 5 defense last year. I think it'll be even better this year, maybe top 3. And I mean, just compare that with the Chiefs, who are just anemic on offense and are not going to have nearly as good of a defense. So, yeah, I mean, I know that Kansas City's not only the team to beat in this division, but in the entire conference. But I think Denver probably, I think they are the 3rd seed in the playoffs, and Kansas City's probably like 5th or 6th. They definitely still make it in, but I just don't see them having a better season than Denver. But I don't know.
Scoop, what are your thoughts?
I mean, if you go back to last year, I was like one of the main guys pre-draft who was kind of on the Bo Nix train, specifically to Denver. You can go back to a Bronco show that I was. You can go back to a Bronco show that I was on in February of 24, where like I was saying, not only do you need a quarterback, but this is the quarterback that you need. And I again, like y'all said, I don't think that he's partially for that reason. I don't think that he's as destined for the sophomore slump, infamous that some other quarterbacks might be. Also, again, let's keep this in mind. Most of the teams that are drafting a new quarterback, why are they drafting a new quarterback? Partially because they're rebuilding. Usually, what does rebuilding mean? Usually, a first or second year coach, often in his first job. So that's a contributor a lot of times to that sophomore slump. This is not that case. We got a Super Bowl winning coach here. I know he won the Super Bowl back in like the Johnson administration, but it's still a Super Bowl winning coach, and it's still an offense. Even though, I could probably read the phone book faster than some of those Sean Payton play calls. This is still, it's again still a guy who's in a situation now for his second year. He's been there the whole offseason. He didn't just get there in May. He's been there the whole offseason. He's not doing this stuff for the first time. And then, again, the defense, the offensive line, I think, in the trenches, I mean, next to, I'll take the heat off of Brandon this time. Next to Philly, they're probably the best team in the trenches outside of Philly. So all these things coalescing, I think that if there's a quarterback that's been in a position recently to not have that sophomore regression, I think it's Bo Nix. And obviously, 100%. A lot of it stems from that, but also, again, really like the offensive line. Don't sleep on their new running back, R.J. Harvey. I almost said Matt Harvey. Don't sleep on R.J. Harvey back there, taking some heat off of Bo Nix. In some of those games where if a defense is able to have a strong enough secondary to kind of frustrate the passing game a little bit, to be able to put it on his shoulders. They got a new tight end in there now. We always say, a lot of people always say that a young quarterback's best friend is a good tight end.
Yep.
So there's so much to like here about this team, and I'm not ready to say that they'll overtake the Chiefs just yet. But again, that's largely because I was still in braces. I think when they last didn't win the AFC West. So I think part of it is just I have to see it to believe it. But I think that Denver. If you were asking me right now who's my AL wild card or AFC wild card one, excuse me, I think that Denver's like at the top or near the top of my list. I'm really excited about this team this year. And someone remind me their over under again.
9.5.
Not 9.5.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
I'm. This is a G-rated show, so I'm not going to make I'm not going to say I'm smashing them like blah 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 blah. But I'm taking.
We're
I'm
all
taking.
taking the over.
I'm
We're all
taking the over.
taking the over. Yeah.
Yeah.
All taking it. This is a unanimous over. It's pretty easy. Scoop, who's your X factor for this group?
My X factor for this group. I mean, I just mentioned him, but I think I got to go with R.J. Harvey. Because again, like I said, I really like their offensive line, and if R.J. Harvey comes on strong as a running back, as a young running back, and you can now take that offense. I think that Bo Nix's athleticism was a little bit underrated coming out of college, but if you can now add an RB1 or even an RB2 who is young and who adds another dynamic to that offense, then all of a sudden you open up even more of what Bo Nix can do if Sean Payton's willing to open up the playbook.
Yeah. Shane, who are you taking for X factor?
Well, Dre Greenlaw. I mean, I think looking at the defense, it's a lot of obviously their line's great and secondary looks really solid. Guys like PS2, Fonga, whatnot. But I think the thing that was, their one maybe weakness has been kind of in the middle, which is exactly what he is. So yeah, I'll go with him. Just be a good anchor there, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Troy Franklin. Another great preseason for him. I'm excited to see how he develops. This is a fun wide receiver room with a lot of potential there. All right, Shane. From Seattle to Vegas for Geno Smith and Pete Carroll.
From the wet Northwest to the dry desert of Vegas. Sounds awful if you ask me.
Sounds
but
awful.
Yeah. The Raiders. This is an interesting team for me because if they obviously finished fourth in this division. I think we can all agree on that. But if they're in any other division, I don't think they're finished in fourth. Let's put it that way. I think for last, it's just because one team has to get last, and I think as a result, they just kind of are by default. But they have Pete Carroll now for their coach, who he's not. Is he going to win you a Super Bowl at this point in his career? I don't think so. I think schematically the game has kind of evolved past him. But that's not what the Raiders need right now. They need a guy who, this has just been a train wreck beyond compare. They need a guy to just get the train back on the tracks, establish a culture, establish a winning mindset, and just get them going. Which he's great for that because he has a ton of experience. He's very positive, very high energy guy, and he is 73, so it's not like you're going to have him forever. So yeah, not to be ageist, but that's just the reality.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's for 73, he's doing pretty great, but anyways.
Is Pete Carroll a better quarterback today than Geno?
a better quarterback.
Yeah, I mean the guy does pretty good in training camp, throwing the football around.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I mean, just looking at the roster, like you got, you biggest thing, obviously, adding Geno Smith for your quarterback, who, I mean, he's not amazing, but compared to the situation they had last year and other years prior, it's like, yeah, okay, that's you could definitely do worse. I mean, if nothing else, he is he's a legit starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not just some Aiden O'Connell, like, well, we'll just stick him out there and see what happens. Like, no. You know what you're going to get with Geno. And, of course, Ashton Genty, Robert, your favorite guy.
I took him in fantasy this morning. I'm excited.
I'm sure you did. But he, I mean, I have high hopes for him, as does everybody. But I mean, he is a rookie, so you never know. But nonetheless, still an exciting pickup. And of course, you have Brock Bowers, who I think is probably the best tight end in the league at the moment.
Thank you.
It's obvious.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's no shade to Kittle, because he's amazing as well, obviously, but it's just, I mean, there's like a 10-year difference between these guys, so Father Time will catch up to George sooner than later. Unfortunately, because I do, even though he's a rotten, dirty 49er, I do love watching him. But yeah, and I guess they don't have too many guys that are like studs or star players, but I guess when you look around the roster, they have some depth. It's like, it's a lot of kind of like B minus guys, and just very few of like the A to A minus guys. I mean, you have Crosby and Brock Bowers, and I really like their left tackle as well, Colton Miller. But other than that, it's just a bunch of guys that are like Geno, yeah, Jacoby Myers, yeah, he's good, I guess. Jermaine Pratt, he's fine. It's not guys where you're like, oh, he sucks, but it's it's just like, he's all right, I guess.
It's the all right, I guess team.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's just a lot of like, just okay. Nothing that's. It's like, oh my god, you're starting that guy? Like, that's gonna be terrible. There's nothing like that. It's just, it's a lot of guys that are just like, yeah, okay. That's kind of how I would characterize them. And what's their over under?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, are you guys ready for their over under? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
it is. Do you guys want to guess? Go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say like 6.5.
Ding, ding, ding! 6.5 is the exact number.
Starting off the year strong. Let's go.
I'm probably. I think I'd probably give them 7 or 8.
You think they go 7 or 8 in this division, guys?
I was gonna say 7.
Probably 7. Yeah, I'll say 7. And in, but if they're in the AFC South, maybe 8 or 9.
Probably win it. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is depressing, but So,
who's your X factor, Shane?
I got to take Geno. I mean, I like to get more creative than just the quarterback, and I think in most cases you can. But
yeah,
I mean, if Ashton Genty is as promised, he'll be able to He'll be able to take some pressure off of the defense and the passing game, obviously. But I mean, the biggest thing for them is just they just haven't had a grown up at quarterback in a long time. They had one, his initials were DC, and they got rid of him for some reason. But that's the couple administrations ago. So, coaching administrations, that is. So that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think if he can. I mean, last year Geno wasn't great in Seattle with the Ryan Grubb offense. I don't necessarily think it's Geno's fault. I mean, I said a lot of times, no, Geno's not amazing, but I don't think, last year I was like, I don't think he's the problem with this offense. And I still believe that. And I think he'll be, if he can be even close to, what he was like in 22, 23, he'll give them a chance to win some games. So
yeah,
that's what I'm going to say. Also, one last thing.
Please. Go ahead.
I absolutely love that they put Jamal Adams. I love that they put Jamal Adams at weak side linebacker. He should have done that 5 years ago.
Yep.
That's factual. Yeah,
better late than never, I guess.
He is not a safety. We know this.
Yeah. Scoop, go ahead. Who's your X factor for the Raiders? I think you're still muted, Scoop. Hang on.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Good. Yay!
Okay. I said that I think the Raiders perennially inherently have 53 X factors, but
yes.
just based on. Sorry.
No, I said yeah. We agree. Yeah.
But just having Pete Carroll there now, which y'all just discussed, and looking at the relationship between their O-line and their just kind of who they have on offense. I'm kind of tempted to say Ashton Jeanty just because, again, knowing who they have, as their personnel wise, and excuse me, I don't know what that was. But looking a little bit in terms of the personnel around them, I'm gonna go with one of their interior linemen, Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
I think that for him, if you're going to really develop Jeanty, if you're going to develop that offense in any sort of a game that plays to his strengths, I think you're going to need not just the Colton Millers of the world, but you're going to need some of your interior guys to really catch on. Whether he sticks at center or pivots to guard, I think we have to see how the season plays out. But give me JPJ on the interior lineman as my X factor.
All right, Brandon, what do you have for X factor for this group?
Scoop reads my mind like a book. But you know what? I was thinking about it, and I think I'm also going to go offensive line. I'm going to go with the guy that they just brought in, too. I'm going to go with Alex Kappa. Just because he has veteran experience like that, especially on a line that's not the best and that's on the younger side. That's very important. They can learn a lot from him. The guy is a Super Bowl champion. I just think, to me, I think he's one of probably the most underrated offensive linemen in the league. So I really think that's just, if they're gonna have, even we saw in Seattle, Geno needs to be protected, because if that line breaks down, he's just gonna throw prayer balls for interceptions. I think that it's going to start with him. So I really, really believe that if they're gonna even win those 7 games, like Shane, I think they will. It's got to start with the line. It's got to be the trenches. So I think having that pick, although I do like Jamal Adams, and they're finally putting him at basically the right spot. I just don't know what you're going to get out of him at this point in his career. And so I don't really trust it. And the thing is, like, I don't, when you look at the rest, like, their linebacker room is awkward because it's a washed Devin White. It's a washed Jalen Smith. Like their linebacker room is technically just a bunch of washed guys. Like that. Like this would have been a great linebacker core like 5-6 years ago. Not now. So I don't want to like touch that. So I think Alex Kappa, is my X factor.
I'm obviously going Genty. I mean, it's the obvious pick. He's going to be so fun to watch this season for them. Honestly, this team is really tough to watch on Sundays, other than if you have Red Zone. That was the case last year, and Brock Bowers is probably the only reason to watch him. Just add Genty into that mix for sure. All right, now to the NFC side, starting with the Los Angeles Rams. Brandon, go ahead.
To me, when it comes to the Rams, it all just. I mean, and we know that he's starting to end. He basically will start the season now, but but his health is still a question. And it starts with Matt Stafford. I've loved, you guys know, I've talked about Matt Stafford for years. Even before he won the Super Bowl, I said Matt Stafford is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I love watching him play, and it's a shame because the last 2 years, well, really the last 3, it's been a little bit of a fall off for him, and I think that their success starts him. I don't know if he's going to be my X factor. We'll get to that in a second, but the Rams, winning 10 games last year, kind of having this Cinderella push behind them, given with all the stuff that happened in LA last year with the wildfires. They kind of rode some tough city strong momentum behind that, and they've played they play good football. I mean, Jared Verse is phenomenal. I really he was tough pretty much against a lot of teams that he played last year. I like Kyron Williams. I mean, he's got a little bit of ball security issues. Puka is there now. He's pretty much the wide receiver. I don't think Devontae Adams is the wide receiver one there, because he really just shouldn't be. He's there too to me, but that's an impressive 2 to have. Given the fact that Cooper Kupp was never healthy anymore at that point, so having those 2, kind of pick your poison kind of thing. And nowadays you have to have a good duo like that. I think that can be an even better duo than Kupp and Nakua. So I really like that. The tight end room, I like Tyler Higbee. He's another one's got to stay healthy, but then here we go. Another former Duck. Terrence Ferguson is there. T-Ferg. I loved him in college. The Ducks didn't use him as much as they should have, but I think he can take that tight end role and run with it from Tyler Higbee, even though Higbee is the veteran, a long time, tight end there. I really like Kobe Turner. I like, Braden Fisk. Their D-line in general is great. To me, their biggest weakness, it just comes in their secondary, because their secondary. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I don't think it's super strong. I don't see anybody here I really like. Maybe Cameron Curl, but Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, I know Emmanuel Forbes like the back of my hand. Him being an NFC East guy, and he was burnt toast quite often. So I don't think he's anything special. I think their weakest point, just like last year, their weakest point was their secondary. This year, it's still their secondary. Their line still has a couple guys there that I like. Rob Havenstein is fine. Steve Avila, fine. I think there's a little bit to like there. So, when I look at them, they won 10 last year. What's their over under?
Let's see. Their over under is 9.5.
Ooh, that should be over. I honestly, I think they're the one team that's probably going to end up with the same exact record. Um, they'll still be good enough to make the playoffs. I, I division. See, this is why they should still be the division favorite, but I mean, this is tough given how the other teams like Seattle kind of loaded up a little bit, um, and the Niners have an easy schedule, a cupcake schedule. So it's going to be tough for the Rams to come out of there to repeat as champions. That's a division that usually doesn't repeat champions like that. It's always kind of the Rams, Seattle, and the Niners kind of trading it every so often.
They take turns.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
I like what they have, and the thing is, they're healthy. I mean, well, Matt Stafford, we don't know yet. Like, honestly, I really believe at this point, they're winning 9-10 games, whatever it is, a year. And that's kind of with Matt Stafford not being Matt. I mean, when they won the Super Bowl, that was the last year Matt Stafford was truly Matt Stafford. But it's been 3 years of him kind of being either hurt or ineffective, or not ineffective, inconsistent. So I genuinely, I mean, to me, I think it's the obvious pick. But my X factor is Matt Stafford. Because his ability, especially as a veteran, arm talent doesn't leave. Matt Stafford's always had arm talent. Arm talent doesn't go on you. It's just he can't afford to take a beating in that pocket, and he can't afford another kind of serious injury, because if he does, then they won't go anywhere that they want to go. So, you can say Devontae Adams and Puka, but I'm fine with them. Those guys will do their job. And Kyron Williams is a great running back, a great young running back. But Matthew Stafford, to me, if they're going to go anywhere, and if they're going to even run that offense effectively, they have Jimmy G as a backup, and they've seen Stetson Bennett play, I think decent this preseason. But Matt Stafford is literally like the engine that I think that makes that offense go. And then, last year when they lost a lot of their games was because Matt Stafford just, like I said, wasn't healthy or was inconsistent. So I think by far, the future Hall of Famer is the X Factor.
Yeah. Scoop, who are you taking for X Factor for the LA Rams here?
Again, I keep trying to avoid taking quarterbacks with these because they just feel so obvious to me. So I'm gonna try and sort of try and kind of dip away from that a little bit. I do think that the offensive side of the ball is going to be, kind of the support around Stafford is going to be even more crucial than it usually is. Because again, we talk about the ability of the line to kind of keep their quarterback not just healthy but just upright in general, and kind of keep offering that ability to. You've got a couple of. It's kind of the O line is kind of spread between a lot of some young players and some veterans. They've got 3 veteran tackles and 3 guys who are not all super young, but like Cody as a second year, McClendon Jr. third year, and I would probably say if I had to pick, I could probably throw like a. This is probably the tougher one that we did this year. This segment. Excuse me. I don't know what just happened right there. But because, sorry, I don't mean to be like taking too long for these, but the Rams, it kind of just depends on the line itself. I think that probably I would throw maybe Alaric Jackson here because I know he was having some injuries, and I think that could potentially be an issue depending on because there was a tailbone issue, there was a blood clot issue. So I think those things could potentially rear significance. especially for the position that he plays and the role that he plays. So give me him.
All right, Shane, finish us off with LA.
I was also going to take Jackson
Everyone's
because
on the same wavelength. Love it.
This is crazy.
It's all about keeping your quarterback healthy, especially when he's a veteran that's that old.
That's the thing, and he's the thing about Stafford is he's having a quote lingering back injury,
Yeah.
which is the worst type of injury to have because there's no timeline on it. You don't know 1 week it'll be fine, and next week it'll be he's in so much pain and what. So
I'll say this really quick. The problem with Stafford is all the chronic issues, chronic shoulder, chronic back.
Right.
It's rough.
It's mostly because that beating that he took in Detroit for so many years.
True.
Well, and he just plays such a physical style of ball, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's because you look at the offensive line and they're great on the right side, but on the left side, it's some question marks, and especially since it's Stafford's back, that's causing problems. You got to make sure that his blind side, behind him, is protected, and that starts with Jackson. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Defensively, I like their defensive line. Jared Verse obviously is great. I think he's slightly overrated, but he is good. Don't get me wrong. Kobe Turner's nice too. Braden Fisk, But like the back seven in their defense, I really don't love all that much.
Yeah, no. Nope.
It's just a lot of very young, kind of unproven guys, I guess. So, it's really going to have to come down to the offense, and particularly can Stafford stay healthy and do his thing. Because he's got all the weapons. He's got, Kyron Williams to support him, all this stuff, But if that all goes well and they stay mostly healthy, they should win 10 games probably. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, look at them the year. What was it? The year? The year after they were in the Super Bowl, and they won 5 games because of injuries that just stacked up. So. Not saying that's going to happen this year, but I'm just saying it's something to think about. So, I will cautiously give them 10 wins for now.
Who are you taking for X Factor, Shane? Overall for this team,
Alaric Jackson, same as Scoop.
All right. You guys are double teaming that. But that's respectful with the offensive line. Obviously, go Kyron. I think he's going to be so important. I want to see him do more outside of the red zone. Obviously, that's where he's
ball security.
Ball security is really important with him too. Yeah, that's going to be really important. But yeah, that's part of it too. I just want to see him do more outside of the red zone, so that that ball security is going to be really important for them. All right. Shane, take your Seattle Seahawks.
They're yours too, Robert.
I don't attach myself.
I'm a media member. I'm unbiased.
I try to be at least. I'm not that good at it.
They're still your Seahawks. Don't deny it.
My walls tell a different story, but that's fine.
I mean, I should have my my Sports Illustrated poster behind me when they won the Super Bowl. It's it's over there. It's Michael Bennett and Chris Clemens and all these guys just swarming Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. Anyways, no, this team is interesting to me. I really like kind of the culture and just the. I guess the philosophy that Mike McDonald is building there. This was, I would argue, last year after bringing in, Ernst Jones, this was, the second half of the season, probably a top 10 defense. Borderline, maybe 10, 12, something like that. And I think now just having a second year with all those guys together in Mike McDonald's system, a full season, I think they're gonna be a solid unit. I mean, I wouldn't say top 5, but I think it's like firmly in the top 10. I mean, I love the secondary. Devon Witherspoon is a stud at Nickelback. Tariq Woolen, he can't tackle, but he covers great, so whatever. Well, I mean, for a corner, for a corner, it's like I don't care that much about how well you can tackle, just as long as you can cover the guy. And then
That is true.
Julian Love, great safety. And really good guys up front too. I mean, you bring in DeMarcus Lawrence from Dallas, who's really good. Leonard Williams had a great season. Byron Murphy, I want to see more from him, but but showed some flashes. And then offensively, I mean, everybody's talking about, they lost, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. I don't care. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't. Like, DK Metcalf he's not a good receiver. He's a very gifted athlete, just physically, obviously. I mean, he's 6'4", 230, probably 3% body fat, just one of the fastest guys in the league. Like that's an insane combination. Unfortunately, he has bad hands, and dude can't run a route to save his life. So, I mean, they got JSN, who is pretty firm as their number one receiver, and I think for good reason. He's a really solid. He's a solid receiver. And Cooper Kupp, we'll see about his health. But when healthy, I mean, he's one of the best route runners in the league, and he's one of the best receiving blockers as well, or blocking receivers, I should say. The only thing. Oh, also, Clint Kubiak, I think, works great for this particular offensive personnel.
Yeah.
New offensive coordinator. My only thing, it's two things, really. First of all, the offensive line outside of Charles Cross, the left tackle, and Greg Zabel, the left guard. I think they're really good. However, the three guys on the right side, yikes.
I went and saw them this year in training camp. Yeah, that right side is not good. It's a massive concern.
And, I mean, Abraham Lucas is the right tackle. He's okay, but he's never healthy. So, but at center, they're rolling with Oluwatimi. Like, seriously. I mean, hell, you put me in there. Like, that's at that point, no offense, Olu. I'm sure you're a great guy, but yeah. So it's there's that, and then the biggest elephant in the room, everything everyone's talking about. How's Sam Darnold going to be? Right? Is he going to not necessarily replicate, but be sort of on the same level he was last year, or was that just a 1-year wonder? And I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't. It's it's anybody's guess at this point. I think he played really well, other than obviously those last two games. Although I don't really blame them on him too much, because I think from play calling, those games were called pretty poorly. But still, he did make some, especially in one of the games, it was like, wow, okay. I think it was the game against Detroit. That was bad.
Yikes,
Yeah. Anyway, so and I mean, we'll see how he does now. New team, not as good at weapons and whatever else, um, but he did work with Clint Kubiak in San Francisco, and that seems to kind of be where he got his revival a little bit. So I think maybe he kind of understands Darnold and some of his strengths and weaknesses and whatnot, and it'll be a kind of an easier transition than if it were somebody else. Last year they won 10. What's their over under now?
Let me see. They are at.
It's really low, if I remember correctly.
It's 7.5.
Yeah, I'm slamming the over. I think their roster's a lot better this year. And year 2 with the system with Mike McDonald, I think they're defensively going to be even better, and offensively now that they have a real offensive coordinator and not that fraud Ryan Grubb. I'm seriously, like, that's
I know you're serious. I'm laughing.
He's a great college coordinator, but just obviously didn't work in the pros, which is fine. I think despite some of the offensive line challenges, I feel like they should win like 11. And I'm going to say, not because they're a great team, but I'm going to say that they win the division kind of just by default, because every other team has like some big issue where I'm like, yeah, I can't see them winning it. And so then as a result, it's just like, well, somebody has to win it. I guess it'll be them. Like, but it's not like I'm not necessarily convinced of myself when I say that.
Yeah,
but
who are you taking for the X factor here?
Oh boy,
It's never a good sign to say, "Oh boy."
Well, I can go a lot of directions here. I mean, I'm gonna. Well, and the main reason I say "oh boy" is because I was trying to think of somebody else other than the quarterback, but I have to go with Darnold. I mean,
can I also take him? It's so obvious.
Yeah, I mean, this team does so much other stuff well, that it's like, it's just the only real thing is just like, is he going to, continue to be, not even that he has to be as good as he was last, but if he can just at least be like a top, 12 to 15 quarterback or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Can he do that? So we'll see.
Brandon, who are you taking?
I mean, honestly, we haven't said a unanimous pick all night, and I feel like it should be Darnold. Just because, I mean, it's we saw at the end of last year. It wasn't just the fact that the play calling was bad, but like there was games where we were saying there's an open receiver right in front of you, and you are just caving into the pressure instead of throwing the ball right to your open receiver, 5-10 yards in front of you. Like he's got to stop seeing the damn ghost that he saw back in New York. I hope for the best for him, but if that line really is not that good, outside of obviously Charles Cross, but you don't know you're gonna get out of Gray Zabel. It's a good pick that they got in the draft, but honestly,
he's a rookie. You don't know.
What?
I said he's a rookie, so you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. it's the unknown. It's like there's really tough and I think it's too, in Minnesota, Darnold had Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. Like, you don't have that kind of running back really here in Seattle. I mean, I still like Kenneth Walker the third, but he's been falling off hard, and that's due to injuries and just ineffectiveness. And then you've got, I mean, the receiving core is just not as good as Minnesota's. So, it's I think it's good enough, but I don't think it's as good. Cooper Kupp, it's the health thing. And then you really don't have a standout wide receiver like three. Like Minnesota has Naylor. Like, you don't have a wide receiver three. I mean, Jake Bobo can break out.
MVS pretty much.
MVS, yeah.
But MVS also can't catch. So that's a problem. What good is all that speed if he doesn't catch the damn football? So it's really, really going to be interesting to see, A, can he hit open targets under pressure, and B, can they keep him upright? But it's got to be Sam Darnold, because last year, the Vikings' downfall late in the season was mostly because of him. So he's got to be the X factor to me, I think.
Yeah. Scoop, are you also taking Darnold? Are we unanimous here?
No, we're not.
Okay, I like
We're
that.
never unanimous. Scoop always likes to be different.
True, but that's not the reason here.
Yeah.
But I also, can you all still see me and hear me? Because my computer's bugging out.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're okay. You're totally
All
fine.
right, well, then that's its own problem. Okay, so y'all took Sam Darnold.
Yep.
And I have a similar mentality, but I'm going to put it this way. Sam Darnold being the X factor, or being an X factor, is kind of a quarterback being an X factor can sometimes be a two-sided thing. Because obviously it's not just is the quarterback struggling, is there anybody who is showing enough in practice to potentially warrant getting some of those snaps themselves. With that, give me Roll Tide, my former Alabama guy, Mr. Jalen.
You think Jalen's going to start this year for them?
I didn't say I don't. I'm not saying I think he'll be a long-term starter, but or this season. But I'm saying if we don't, or if we think that Sam Darnold could potentially, which I do, could potentially flounder, you don't think that at some point to try and win maybe half a game if he's struggling, or if they want to pull him out because they think he's rattled or whatever the case may be, you think that they're not going to potentially be willing to see it's not like they picked this guy in the 6th round. They picked this guy on day 2. They clearly, if you're picking a day 2 quarterback, Brandon, we remember we took a guy on day 2 a few years ago. I've got video of myself reacting. I'm not going to show the reaction on here, but again, that can be a two-sided thing. It's not just, is a guy looking rattled on the field. It's what do I think of what else I could potentially have to put in there. And I'm not going to say he's going to be, he becomes the permanent starter week 8. That's not what I'm saying. But we've seen plenty of instances where we see a veteran get benched at some point and we think, okay, we're going to give this guy the rest of the season. We already are, out of the playoffs anyway. So let's just see what we've got with this guy. And if we think it's too early, then, we don't have to start him right away next year.
Yeah.
Give me Jalen, give me Jalen Milroe.
The thing is, it's a 2-year and then an opt out for the Seahawks there too. So it is kind of a short leash with the 2 years, but we will see.
For this season, though, I don't see Seattle ending up in that situation where they're, it's like we're doing crappy, so let's see what we got with this guy.
I'll put it this way. Nobody ever sees it until it happens.
That is true too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be shocked if that happened this year. This year, next year maybe, but I don't know.
All right, Scoop, I'll get you started with the 49ers. We're changing up the order a little bit. The 49ers, their over-under is 10.5. Do you agree with that?
You said it's 10.5.
It's at 10.5, yeah, for the San Francisco 49ers.
All right. Well, I will say this. I know that there are people who look at their schedule and think they've got one of the easier schedules. So that could potentially be part of it. I don't know what they're seeing really with that. But again, I guess maybe because you're looking at the Colts and the Browns and the Titans and the Bears, and so I know that they've got what's considered a little bit of a nicer schedule on the back end. So maybe people think that they can kind of use that as a cushion to get a couple more wins. I think that that's still a little bit higher than I would have them. But again, maybe that's just because I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking, again, I've talked about Brock Purdy in the past. I've talked about the injury nature of not only the system that they play, but also the personnel that they have in place in certain positions. I've talked about my feelings about and my perceptions of Mike Shanahan in the past. They do have Coach Saleh back there now on defense, so I think that could be interesting. That could potentially help them on the back end for the players who are still there who have been coached by him in the past. But yeah, so 10.5. I'm gonna click the over on that, but it's purely because I think that the schedule is going to potentially be a buffer.
Yeah.
If it were just based on talent alone, I'd be taking the under.
Yeah. Who are you taking X Factor for the 49ers, Scoop?
X Factor for the 49. Well, okay, I don't know why I just went robotic on that. X Factor for the 49ers.
That's okay. This roster feels a little robotic.
Yeah. Just kind of looking at I kind of wanted to look at their defensive side because again I did just mention Coach Saleh, and I do know that there's always so much attention on their offense. Obviously, everybody loves Brock Purdy for this, that, and the other. So I was looking at that a little bit. They have made some moves recently, but excuse me, sorry. I think that just because he's been considered such a leader of that defense for so long, and because they've moved some veterans out recently, I'm going to go with Fred Warner in the middle of that linebacking core.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. He's going to be a huge key for them. Shane, who do you have for X Factor for the 49ers?
Well, I'll take Trent Williams because, when I look at this team, first of all, 10.5 wins. Give me the under all day long. I mean, look, I get that they have an easier schedule, quote unquote, but it's the National Football League. It's not, it's not like playing Tennessee is playing, in college, like Louisiana Tech of Lafayette, whatever. Like it's,
Yeah.
So I mean, is it something to consider? Yeah, but is it going to be the reason that they win a division or something? No. I mean, it's will they get maybe an extra win or two? Yeah, probably, but that's about it. And so the reason I say Trent Williams is because offensively, I mean, yeah, they have Kittle, they have McCaffrey, whoever else, and they're great, but McCaffrey's coming off an injury that was pretty bad, and even when he did play last year, didn't look like himself. And you're gonna be without Brandon Ayuk, which is your wide receiver one for sounds like about half the year probably, which is not good. And then you got rid of Deebo Samuel, who was, I mean, he's definitely not what he used to be, but he was still a solid piece for them. So, I mean, what, you're going to rely on Ricky Pearsall? Okay. And Trent Williams is an amazing left tackle, obviously, but the rest of this offensive line is bad. I mean, this is rough. And we know that the easiest way to beat the 49ers offense is just to blitz the hell out of him, because when you get pressure on Purdy, he doesn't know what to do. And so, I think we're going to see a lot of teams, if they're smart, just kind of jamming that right side of the offensive line. I guess they still have, their star guys like Fred Warner, Trent, Bosa, Kittle, whatever. But what they lost was like all their, second tier guys like Greenlaw, like Hufanga, Trevarius Ward, Debo Samuel, guys that filled out the team. So it's, you got your 5 or 6, big guys that are like your star players or whatever. But outside of that, and I mean, even them, like half of them are, coming off of injuries, or they're like, almost about to be 40 years old, or like what, just whatever. And yeah, we've seen in previous years what happens when they lose even one of their guys with an injury, or whatever. And now they've lost like half their guys from just, free agency or trades or whatever. And, I mean, we knew this was going to happen. I mean, I think we all said the off season going into, when we were doing division previews like this, the year that they went to the Super Bowl, not last year, but the year before, we all said it was like, this year or next year is probably their Super Bowl window. And after that, it's closed. And I think it's closed right now. I think they're going to, just where they are right now, they're putting a lot of faith in some guys that are old and probably past their prime. And I think they're going to have to retool and kind of build something new here. But yeah, I think, assuming they all stay healthy, I'd probably give them 8 or 9 wins. Probably finish third in the division.
All right, Brandon, finish us off with the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm along that same wavelength. I mean, hell, I think I was probably the first one on the show that was saying it every year when one of their star guys went down, that they just looked like a team that was completely lost. It's still top heavy, like their roster. It's still the guys you expect, like Brock Purdy, Kyle Juszczyk, CMC, Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, who was good last year, Kittle, Trent Williams. Like, it's still, Nick Bosa on the other side. It's still, roughly, some of the bigger names that you expect. But the problem is, Fred Warner. But it's just that, like Shane said, when you lose a lot of those second tier guys that bolstered that roster, when you go straight from having guys who are Pro Bowl type players, then to basically going to essentially third string type players, and not having really that buffer, and not having guys that can step right up if one guy goes down and kind of pick it up, you're not going to win many games. You're just not. So then all these guys have injury concerns. Like CMC definitely does. We know that. We just said that. Ayuk, with the whole contract thing, he wasn't good last year. They're set, all their wide, like they have a bunch of basically wide receiver threes outside of Brandon Ayuk, which that's not going to be good enough to win a lot of games. Their wide receiver 2 is Juwan Jennings, which isn't bad, obviously, but that's not that's not great. He had a good season last year, but that's not enough compared to what they had in the past. And their record, that over under being tend to have that is strictly because of their cupcake schedule. That's strictly. And the thing is, it's a cupcake now based on where those teams finished last year. But a lot of those teams they got better. The Niners gutted their team, so I don't. The schedule looks easy, and it technically is the easiest coming into the season. It's the easiest in the NFL. But I would not be surprised. A lot of those teams that are quote unquote easy upset them because the Niners are not they're half the roster that they used to be. So it's really tough. But I mean, if I'm taking really an X factor with them, you know what, I'll stay on the offense. I've been offense heavy this whole show. But if they're gonna do anything, they need a healthy CMC. They need it like they need water to drink and air to breathe. Because if they don't have that, then they're gonna win like 5 games. Like they won 6 last year, but you can't afford another injury riddled season to CMC because outside of him, Isaac Guerendo's not special. He has 1 good game or 2 good games a year, and that's about it. What you got in him?
Brought in Brian Robinson a couple days ago,
who I like, but he's not the type of guy that he is a bruising running back. He's not the pass catcher / running back that CMC. He's not that all around, all purpose running back that CMC is. So, and the thing is, he's somebody that needs somewhat of an offensive line to kind of run behind, like run through. Like CMC can make things happen. Brian Robinson's not that kind of guy. He doesn't. To me, he doesn't fit that offense as well. And I think he'll get run because I think CMC will get hurt again. Because that's just been CMC's entire career since he was drafted. He's been nothing but injury plagued. He's a great player, but nothing but injury plagued. And it's like if you're going to rely on Brock Purdy to have at that point, if CMC goes down, to basically throw the ball 40 plus times a game, they're not winning many games by doing that. You're just not gonna. So I think it has to be CMC because it's in the same way that we're talking about taking the pressure off of Justin Herbert with Amari and Hampton. It's like, okay, well now but CMC has to be that for Brock Purdy because he wasn't there last year. He only played 4 games, and he kind of got rushed back to play those 4 games. So he was a shell of himself. So I think it's CMC.
I'm gonna go with Brock Purdy. I mean, it's the obvious pick. This team is again just a shell of itself. It's tough because the schedule's good, but I'm gonna go under. I just don't feel confident in this team, in this division, kind of as a whole. But this team, I'm scared.
You know what it is though. We always talk about like a team that there's always every year there's one worst to first team because their schedule is quote unquote easy. They would surprise me if they went worst to first, but that's not saying much because the division to me as a whole has question marks.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that it would not surprise me if they went worst to first, but I like we're saying I don't trust it either.
Yeah. All right,
that doesn't happen as much anymore, though. The worst to first thing.
That is true.
It doesn't.
At least once a year.
It certainly used to be, but yeah.
Yeah. Arizona. Marvin Harrison bulked up. I don't know how much that's going to help. We'll see. Other than that, receiving course just him and Trey McBride. Kyler Murray, we don't know because obviously we just don't know year to year. Love James Conner. This offensive line is rough. Defensively, final years of Calais Campbell, Budda Baker still good, but this roster is rough. I think if there's any roster that finishes last, it's this roster.
It's them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel good about this roster at all. I guess by default, I'll go Trey McBride as the X factor, but this team, we don't have to spend too much time on them because this is a rough roster. Brandon, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, when I look at the roster, it's like to me, Trey McBride and Budda Baker, and even MHJ, those are like it's like having 3 cars sitting in the driveway of a trailer park house, three Ferraris. It's like
Scoop is like what?
Like
you're not wrong.
It's it's just tough because those three are just they've been good for. I mean, Trey Bryant was awesome last year, one of the best tight ends in both in the game and in fantasy. You know, like Buda Baker, potential Hall of Famer. We know what he is. We know how good he is. Um, I don't hate like when I look at their wide receiver core. Like I was telling Scoop earlier, I like Michael Wilson. I think he was actually decent last year for what it was worth. Um, but there's absolutely no semblance of an offensive line. Kyler Murray is just that guy's finished. He's more concerned about playing Call of Duty than he is about playing football.
Hey, new COD's coming out in November.
Oh, great! So that's when we should expect Arizona to slide.
Yeah.
Let me look up the official release date. I think it's November.
but like it's really hard when you have guys who are they're just a bunch of unknowns, or they're just a bunch of mid, and then you have a couple veterans who are on their last leg, and then a couple guys in their prime that are good, but there's nothing around them. That's what the Cardinals pretty much are. And
November 14th. There you go. Have fun with that.
Okay, so around Thanksgiving we expect the Cardinals to slide.
Yeah, like week 10.
Yeah. So I mean they're gonna slide the whole season, but really slide. James Conner, I like him. He's not the greatest back in the world, but he is a 1,000-yard rusher, and the thing is he's gonna have to get leaned on more. You can't ask Kyler to throw the ball a ton because if you ask Kyler to throw the ball at this point, you're asking for 4 interceptions a game. So like there's just nothing. I mean, listen, I hope for the best for Josh Sweat. That's their big offseason signing, but what's that really going to do if there's nothing around him defensively except for Buda Baker? What's that really going to do?
Who'd you take for X Factor again for this group?
You know what? Honestly, is there really one? I mean, that's what's. I know you took I know you bought Trey. Your Trey McBride is nice, but McBride, we saw him last year. He was great. But they didn't give him the ball in the red zone, and they don't like to use him for whatever in the short yardage down there. They just don't get him the ball, and so he alone can't be the X factor because your tight end's never going to be an X factor. It's just not how it is. At least not to me, anyway. God, it feels like a cop out. Here we go. It feels like a cop out to pick the former Eagle, but like. How could you not pick Josh Sweat? You know what I'm saying? Like what is there defensively besides Buda Baker and Josh Sweat? What is there defensively that's any good on that team? No. So they brought in Josh Sweat to be their double-digit sack guy. That's who they have faith in. So if you're going to win any game, it's probably going to be off of his back. So, I mean, I hate to be the Eagles guy, but you know what? I'll stay out till I'm blue in the face. Eagles. Josh Sweat is my X factor. Get out of here.
Scoop, are you also taking the former Eagle here?
No.
I am.
Oh, Shane is. Okay. Scoop, please go ahead before Shane goes here.
Yeah, so I really wanted to pick someone more creative or more of an outside whatever, but let's just be honest. I mean, we just said it, and it's, and sometimes for me, it's like, you don't overlook it or overthink it. It's Kyler Murray. Is he going to be, what's he going to be health-wise? What's he going to be mentally? Now, once this modern whatever, I'm not a big gamer, but, whatever you just said in November. But like just holistically speaking, like it's very rare to see a guy who has known questions about his commitment to football and his commitment to really being a student of the game, for lack of a better word, make it this far in his career. Normally those guys wash out year 2, year 3 max. So to have him be, it's a testament to his talent, but also and also having somebody up there. I mean, looking at the sort of the it's not really a new regime anymore, but Coach Snake and everybody all the way up. You've got it's just you don't know what their rope is going to be with him. I mean, we've seen teams even more than ever be willing to move off of genuine, good, proven talent quarterbacks. So, and I know that Arizona doesn't exactly have like a standard of winning that we've seen, like some other teams do. But if they're hell bent on trying to implement that, then we shouldn't guarantee. I don't think that just because he's Kyler Murray, just because he's paid this or whatever, I don't necessarily think that he should. I don't necessarily think that I would necessarily buy your house in Glendale just yet.
Really quickly. So the Seahawks over under 7.5. What do you guys think the Cardinals over under is?
6.5.
6.5 probably.
Ooh. Well, they won 8 games, but I don't think they're any good. So I'm gonna say 5.5.
8.5 wins.
Is it really?
Get out of here.
Easiest under of my life. Slam the under. Jesus.
That is wackadoodle. That is wackadoodle city.
Wins out of this team. I don't. Okay.
That is wackadoodle city.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting. All odds, of course, according to BetMGM. All right, finish us off, Shane, with our football content today with the Arizona Cardinals.
I mean, look, it's simple. They have the worst coaching staff in this division and the worst roster in the division. There you go. I mean, that's that's not a recipe for success. I think they usually finish last. I mean, Kyler Murray is talented. Yes. I mean, he's quick. I think he has a much better arm than people give him credit for. But it's just, the intellectual part of the game, just this that's non-existent for him. I mean, they literally had to put a clause in his contract saying that he had to
yeah, exactly.
That's, dude, you shouldn't. First of all, Arizona, you should not be signing a guy to that big of a deal if you have to feel the need to put that in there.
Oh.
Right. If you have a question like that, you move on from the guy.
Yep.
Anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's just, I mean, this roster is, like you guys were saying, there's a couple of, like Buda Baker, Josh Sweat, Trey McBride, great players, but they're just surrounded by a sea of nothing. I just don't see, I don't see it really going anywhere for him. So, I mean, I think I'd probably give him 6 wins, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Scoop, before we let you go, as we do our movie Buffalo 66, do you have a Super Bowl prediction for us, or would you rather wait 2 weeks?
I mean, okay, so I guess the best way to put that one is that I don't think much is going to change in 2 weeks. So I'm happy to give you one now, even though I haven't already formally made one. I'm happy to give it to you now. I do think the AFC ultimately is. I waxed poetic about them earlier. I do think that the AFC is won by the Denver Broncos.
Ooh.
And I do think that the NFC, objectively speaking, I do think that the NFC is won by the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, I am somewhat I genuinely, I mean, you guys have seen it. I do try to be objective on shows when it comes to talking about. And I do think that they're going to give our defense a run for its money. I don't think that we're going to. Let's be honest, that was a 34-point game in the Super Bowl. But again, I have to see what their defense is capable of first. I've seen it with Philly. I haven't seen it with Denver. I know it's hard and virtually impossible recently to go for a repeat, but I do think that's where Philly is headed right now. I am going to pick Philly to win the Super Bowl this year, but again, I know how hard that the repeat thing is, and nothing will surprise me in this division and conference at this point. But that is my prediction right now.
All right, I like it. I like that it's both on the AFC side, but yeah, that's solid. I like that a lot. All right, well, thanks, Scoop. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the start of the season.
All right, fellas, I can't thank y'all enough, and obviously keep in touch. And I'll look forward to watching. I'll probably watch tomorrow to see what y'all say about this movie that I can't say I've ever seen in my life. But I look forward to at least hearing the analysis.
All right, sounds good.
God
Take
bless
it
you.
easy.
Good night. How do I jump out of this thing?
I got you.
There you go.
Oh, there.
There we go. All right. Well,
Denver
Buffalo
winning the
60
AFC. That is interesting.
That is bold. I like it.
I don't hate it. I'll be honest. I don't hate it.
I
can see it.
I don't hate it either. I really don't.
I'm a firm believer in jinxes, so I don't want to pick the Eagles to win again. I like it, but I don't want to pick us to win again.
I don't want to go too much into this just because it's we're going to the movie thing, but like the Super Bowl thing this year, like the Eagles.
Can we save that to the end of the show? I want to save it to the end for you guys.
All right, fine.
Okay. Speaking of jinxes, Buffalo 66. I told Brandon that if Buffalo wins or loses the Super Bowl this year, it's because we watched this movie. So, with that, Brandon, go ahead because this is a very interesting and also pretty iconic indie film.
Yeah, that's why I picked it because I'm not a big indie film guy. Like even for like bigger budget movies, like when we do like kind of like niche films, like when we've done like like over the years we've done like Coda, and we've done stuff like that where it's like it's a weird kind of like it's not a very like mainstream topic, and it's like it's not a mainstream kind of movie. But like
those are very hit or miss for me.
Yeah, a movie like this, I don't know what drove me to it when I first saw it on Amazon Prime. But like I was telling you guys pretty much last week, I was flipping through one night and I saw this movie, and what drew me was pretty much like the bio. It was talking about a guy comes out of prison, I remember what the synopsis actually said, but it was like, oh yeah, a guy comes out of prison, and is trying to adjust to modern life, and he's literally seeking revenge on the Buffalo Bills kicker for losing, a playoff game. And I was like, that's a weird topic. Like, how is that a movie? And of course, like and this was at the time where I was looking into I think I started watching this movie last year when it was around fall, so right around Halloween. So obviously the Addams Family, two of the actors are in that movie, Angelica Houston and Christina Ricci. So I think kind of that little kind of those things, like the football angle of this a little bit, and having them the kind of the season of at that time is what kind of drove me to watch it. But it was weird because at first I was like, the acting in this is a little bit funky, but when I looked at it, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, well, no, this is how actual people talk. Like, this isn't like, it doesn't seem like it's super rehearsed, or that it's super kind of like well thought out, like meticulously looked over. And I was like, I kind of like that it's a little bit, it's rough around the edges. I like that. But it's just so weird because all I can think about was one of the analyses that I saw of this movie was saying that this is not just like because it's called a romantic comedy drama. There's not much comedy in it, but
the only comedy is the pee scene, which takes 2 minutes.
Yeah, quite literally.
It's sort of like dark situational humor.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to put it. Yeah.
It's definitely a little bit twisted humor, but it's just a weird, like, the only thing I can think about when I think of like the synopsis of this movie is like, or like the analysis I saw of this movie, like what people were saying about it when I went back and read the reviews after I watched it for the first time, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is just a movie about Munchausen syndrome," and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
What
You know,
syndrome?
Munchausen. I forget. I think that's the name of it, or Munchausen,
What?
however you pronounce it.
What?
Um, it's basically it's not hard to describe, but like I'm trying to spell it just so I'm not.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah,
rare serious mental illnesses where someone deceives others pretending to be sick. Interesting. Well, that's kind of the beginning
but
of
it's
the
like
film.
it's like they do that like in an attempt to kind of like gain sympathy from people,
Yeah,
or like,
Yeah.
like there's another term, but like someone mentioned that syndrome, and there's another one they mentioned where it's like, what is it when
Well, the thing I heard mostly was sociopathy, and I thought that was a little bit interesting, but
yeah, but those are things I heard, but there's another more specific term for it when someone like falls in love with their captor.
Stockholm
oh,
syndrome.
That's it. There it is.
Stockholm, yeah,
Yeah. So I heard like a bunch of those things
yeah.
about this movie, and that made me look at it differently. But it's like every scene in this is kind of just it gets dark, but not dark like you're like kind of scared or whatever, or not scared. Well, it's not the right term to use, but it's not dark in
Disturbed.
a yeah, it's not disturbingly dark. Even though it is kind of dark. But we said it's that twisted kind of humor, romantic drama thing. Um, it's just like every scene in this movie, I love how low budget, how kind of artsy, like the way that it's shot, the way that it cuts from scene to scene, the way that the the editing is different, the way that scenes kind of pop into frame and pop out, and you start to kind of see bits and pieces of Billy's life and what's led him to this point where he is right now, and you start feeling you start feeling bad for him, even though he's not the best guy in the world, but then you can see why he's turned out the way he has, and it's kind of just like he's not a bad guy, he's more so that he's misguided, and
Yeah.
and so it's like it's it's weird because it's you can tell that Vincent Gallo put a lot of himself like into this movie. You can tell that it's like he's not really playing a character, and I think he even said that he was basing this kind of like on the way he grew up, more or
Yeah.
less. And when you realize that, like those kinds of things, and when you see like kind of how now the filming of this movie was a little bit rough for like Christina Ricci, because she said that the filming for this was kind of awkward, like that because she was 17 at the time, she wasn't quite 18, she had to have a parent on set, and her mom, I think it was, and Gallo wouldn't let the mom, like he had some weird demands. He wouldn't let the mom on, like he wouldn't let the mom around, or he would.
he's a weird guy in general.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we'll
I was gonna
talk
say
about
he's
this.
kind of crazy, but
I don't think we'll divulge fully into that because it's
yeah,
a lot of weird stuff that probably
yeah.
isn't fit for this show or many shows in general.
Well, yeah,
But yeah, he's a really weird dude. We'll just leave it at that.
yeah. Like he's not the worst guy in film history, but he's definitely like he's definitely weird to weird, awkward, kind of
he
like
doesn't have a
crazy.
reputation that's the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, but
that's the
it's
best way
funny
to
because,
put it.
but that's also why I kind of like this movie, because this movie is pretty much just it's it's about him. Like it's like it's not a biopic, but it essentially is. Like when you kind of learn like his background, his life story and stuff. Um, I just I don't know. I just love the fact that Christina Ricci gave a great performance in this for what she had to work with, and kind of the stress that she was under for this, and the I love how every scene, and this is why they call it a drama film. I love how every scene there it was tense. I mean, outside of the peace the peace scene in the beginning, the last few minutes, but every scene in this movie was tense. But the best scenes in this, or really the best I think scene in this movie is the family dinner early in the movie,
Oh yeah,
and
it's incredible. Yeah,
you're getting snapshots into his life, the parents' lives, and then how Christina Ricci's character, how she fits into this. So like it's sad, but it's also sweet, but it's also like it's just weird, it's bizarre, kind of like Gonzo-ish style.
can we talk
Uh,
about the mother offering him chocolate donuts, but he can't eat chocolate?
yeah,
They
I don't.
literally forget about him while he's in front of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I like is that the parents don't really know their own son because they just don't like they don't care that they're disinterested. They blame him for a lot of things that went wrong with their lives. So
Yeah,
like it's kind of and the thing is that's also what makes her start to feel sorry for him is because she sees how messed up it was for him growing up just
yeah.
through the interactions, and it's in a way it's sweet, but in a way it's just weird. It's like that's the thing is like this is a sweet, weird, but and for me fun movie to watch. Like I've watched it a good 6, 7, 8 times. I I don't get tired of it because there's always something new I see every time, and it's not like it's a movie where that makes you think, or it's not a movie that really makes you like kind of not trying to like mind blow you about what's going on, but it's it's just I find something new every time that I didn't notice before. Either in a look that one of the characters will give each other, or in a because like I said, a lot of I like a lot of movies where it's not what you say, it's kind of how you convey it,
Yeah.
or it's how
Subtext.
you or it's how you kind of look at another character, like what you're portraying with your eyes, and the way that goes. And that's another thing too. Lighting plays a big part in this movie. There's a lot of the scenery, obviously being in Buffalo, cold, dreary, like winter, but then also like the scenes that when they're inside buildings, whether it's inside the parents' home or inside the bowling alley or hotel, like dingy, dark, but there's some light peeking through. Like it's so to me, it's kind of like relatable. Like, even or in the strip club at the end, it's like there's always light peeking through the darkness, and that's kind of what his life is in this movie that we're seeing is like the light, I guess you could say, is her, and the darkness is him and everything that surrounds him. I've thought about it kind of that way, and it's a lot is said through obviously the eyes in this movie, like the way he looks at her or she looks at him, or the parents look at each other or look at him or whatever with her. It's it it's definitely a weird kind of like, or I keep saying weird, but it's an interesting like kind of you know case study, I guess, into what it means to be human, and can someone turn it around after they've lived such a hard life? So I like it, and I don't like. It's not gonna be the greatest movie ever, but I like the football aspect of this. I like the fact that the Buffalo Bills for some reason always bring sorrow to their fans, and that hasn't changed in a very long time. Um,
Yeah, except in recent years, but even
yeah,
then, yeah.
but even then, the heartbreak. It's always just like this movie has a lot of heartbreak and a lot of sadness in it. So do the Buffalo Bills in their history. So it all kind of ties in, and that's what I like about it. I like the little cameo from Mickey Rourke as the bookie. Um, I think that was pretty cool. Because Mickey Rourke always plays like those kind of tougher, grittier characters. Usually, not all the time, but usually. So like everybody kind of just plays to their strengths, I think, in this movie. Like, Vincent Gallo basically is playing a character, a character that's just based on himself. Christina Ricci and Angelica Houston, they have chemistry because of the Addams family, but also, they play off each other well. They kind of have, a different kind of spin on things because you're seeing them in like a different role for them at that time. but they make it work. Uh, you know, it's I just like how every single scene kind of it shows you how much a person can take before they really break. And the most powerful scene to me is when he finally breaks down in the bathroom and he's just completely snapped, like he's had enough.
Yeah.
And you can see the inner turmoil just pouring out of him. Um, as he's just trying to figure out, like, where to go from there, what's going to happen, what he's going to do, and eventually, he does figure it out. But I love it. Like if I had to give it a rating for me, I'm not gonna say it's a 10. It's not the perfect movie. It's not even a 9. But for me, how much I like it, I think it's an 8.5 out of 10. I like this. And I don't like indie films. This is one of the very rare indie films, artsy films I really like. It's just different. It's a little bit off the wall, but it makes sense when you think about all these things. So I
Yeah.
love it.
Shane, I think weird is definitely the right word for this movie, but that's not necessarily a bad way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean it's it's definitely a character study, which is that can go one of two ways. Either it's like when you have a movie that's character driven as opposed to plot driven,
Mm-hmm.
it can feel like the pacing is uneven, very slow. Like you're kind of like, okay, what's the point here? What are we trying to I don't think that's necessarily the issue here with this movie. We do see that sometimes. Joker. But
Yeah, you're not
but
wrong.
Joker 2 makes it worse.
but but then there are some like this where you get like little hints of things as they kind of go back and show flashback, not even flashbacks, but just like filling in the pieces, and then you're like, okay, I see, it's definitely it's definitely very unique, and like I'm glad Brandon brought up the lighting because there are those scenes with the lighting of being like it's all dark and there's just a little glimmer of light coming through, but then there are some where like they'll be sitting around a table or whatever and it's just like totally bland white fluorescent tubes.
Yeah.
And at first I saw it and I thought, I was like, this is boring, but then I was like, no, that
Welcome
actually
to Denny's.
Yeah.
but then as it was going on I was like, well, no, actually that feels intentional,
Yeah.
because it's just so it's supposed to be like just not very warm and fuzzy feeling. It's like so yeah, and I think there's some great performances too from especially from the two leads, from Vincent Gallo and Christina Ricci, and yeah, and I like how it explores certain themes like like just overcoming poor childhood and other sort of traumas that people experience, and are you going to let that define you, or are you going to kind of blame all your problems on it, or are you going to try to make something better of yourself? And um yeah, and the fact that this is done on a $5 million budget is pretty crazy. Which you might think like, oh, that's a lot of money not to make a movie.
Did you say 5 million?
It wasn't it like 5 million?
Uh,
I thought it was much less.
yeah, it's at 1.5 million.
Oh, okay,
Which
even more impressive.
it's just wild.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think really my biggest issue is the pacing is kind of all over the place,
Yeah.
especially earlier on. But it's I think once you get into it, you kind of realize like why it's that way, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, I don't really know if you could have done it much better than that. So, yeah, I think I'd give it. I mean, it's crazy. This is my first time watching this.
That's what I'm
Finally
saying.
picked a
I'm
movie that changed.
surprised.
there are not many movies I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Um,
My God, that's a point for me.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to watch it again. Just with the knowledge in my head of like why the pacing is the way it is and everything. But for
Mm-hmm.
now, I think to me it's like a B plus. Um, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. So not pleasantly. I figured it would be good, but
I'm not going to pick a garbage film for us to watch. I mean, I did that. I did that with the Grinch because it was Christmas. But
well, yeah, it's a
that's
Christmas movie.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not like Robert with Venom too, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, I give it a 7. I think a 7 is fair. I was really surprised. I mean, I think pleasantly surprised is also correct in the sense that it's like it's really weird. It is just a really weird movie, but it's like there's something like emotional about it that sticks with you,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the second half.
Yeah.
Like the first half, you're kind of like, okay, what is going on here? I love that he can't drive a stick shift. That was funny. But it's just like there's little moments that are funny, but it's just like once you hit that second half, you start to really realize like the mental health aspects of this, which I think are fantastic. The just like the blank kind of emotional, just ideology that Vincent Gallo's character has, and it's just, yeah, I think weird is just the perfect term. It's weird in kind of the best way, and then as you get towards the end, you're just kind of rooting for him, and then obviously going to the coffee shop at the end. But it's like it becomes this really like I would say like emotional roller coaster for the viewer because you're really down on him at the beginning, and it kind of goes up. It just kind of goes up and down as things go. Um, and then you start to really like root for him at the end, which is a really weird feeling, but it's a really weird feeling when you go back and think about how the first half worked and just the pacing and everything, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it becomes this movie that, again, as you guys said, is just this fascinating case study that I think everybody should see. It's one of those movies that will, I think, and as with you, Brandon, has stuck with you for a long time. Obviously, rewatching it a lot of times, I think it will definitely stick with us for a good while too, especially as we start the year. So, yeah, I think 7 is good. It's just really fascinating, and will definitely stick with me for a good time. So,
That's all I could hope for. I knew you guys would. I knew you guys would like it. I didn't expect Shane to give it a B plus. I expected like a B minus or something, like the B minus C plus. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'm like the Russian judge over here, the film critic.
Not that hard on movies.
Yeah, I know.
Just
But,
Venom 2. No,
well,
I'm
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Venom 2 and then the Grinch, obviously. But
well, the Grinch, I gave a bad rating. Not as much Shane.
yeah,
The Grinch is
but-
fun. I mean, it's a bad movie, but it's fun.
but it's just fun. Yeah, like
Yeah,
like
it's a
like
bad
with this,
movie, but
though-
it's great.
like with this though, I was like, this, this movie could go either way. Like I feel like when I was thinking about it, like telling you guys about this, when I told you guys about this like last year, I was like, this movie could go either way. Whenever we decide to do it, I'm like, but I know I like it, but I'm like, how will they like? Because it's weird, it's artsy, it's weird, it's indie, it's not mainstream, but it has a
It
great
works.
like this movie has a cult following. I've seen this movie like actually on TV, like on the movie channels and stuff. Like it's got that cult following and that kind of that lasting power that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I love it. I really do.
I would highly recommend after watching it, watch some reviews on YouTube for it. I sent you guys one. I think this is one that you definitely need to do that afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, what movie are we doing week 1?
We're doing Nightcrawler.
Oh, Okay.
I've been wanting to do that, so I'm glad that we're doing that.
Yeah, because we always start week one with like,
Thriller?
this was not intentional. Yeah, like a kind of action crime thriller with Collateral, and then last year was Sicario. So I was like, what's like a crime thriller type thing we could do this year? And then I was just thinking, I was debating between several, but ultimately I was like, yeah, I want to go with this because I recently rewatched it maybe about a month ago. Just I don't know what I was doing, but I just came across it and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, and I cannot stop thinking about it. So
Yeah, I'm excited. That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
All right, Super Bowl predictions. Who wants to go first?
Here's what I'll say. The Philly is the so obvious choice.
That's why I'm scared.
Because they undeniably have the best roster in the league, top to bottom. The issue is it's a repeat, especially in the NFL, is so rare. I mean, it happens like every 20 years. So as much as I want to say them, I know that it's not logical for me to do so.
Yeah.
Man.
Really giving us some thought.
The thing is though, there's not a team in the AFC that when it comes down to it where I think they can take them down.
Mm-hmm. Who are you taking in the AFC game to meet them?
Okay, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Buffalo. I think Buffalo beats Denver in the AFC Championship.
I like it.
I think in the round before, Buffalo plays Kansas City and Denver plays Baltimore. And then
I didn't want you to go this deep, but I like it.
Well, I'm just thinking about it logically. NFC, obviously Philly, and then NFC Championship. Assuming they stay healthy, I'll say Detroit.
That's the matchup we want.
The divisional round.
That's the matchup we wanted last year that we didn't get.
Yeah.
Divisional round, I think they'll play Tampa and I guess Washington. Yeah. I don't know who else it would be.
Yeah. Dallas Cowboys. Woo!
No, jeez, don't.
The Giants.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll take. I'm going to take Philly over Buffalo, but I'm not confident in that.
Yeah.
There's like 4 teams. There's 4 teams in the AFC that I could see winning the AFC. I think Philly's really the only team I see winning the NFC. But yeah.
Yeah. I'll do the same. I'll take Buffalo and Philly. Philly wins. I kind of want to say Buffalo wins, but yeah, as you said, Philly to me has the best roster, so it's easy there. I think Philly repeats.
Well, you know what's funny? I think Buffalo gets there anyway, and as much I'm the Eagles guy, and old Scoop is too. But I've been here the entire time for all these iterations of our shows, and I I don't like that's I don't want to be like the Cowboys fan and being like, oh yeah, we're gonna go all the way this year because we're the Eagles with the best, like, yeah, like I know we got the best
Well,
roster of the year. Like
yeah,
I
that's
get
the
it,
thing.
like, and I know Vic Fangio's gonna have them be a top 5 at worst defense, so it's like, so like the defense is gonna be fine, the offense is gonna be fine. They're that's what they are. Like it's just it's just been, and like I love the determination. Like AJ Brown is you know he's not happy, because he all the players took a picture with the Super Bowl trophy with the Lombardi. AJ Brown's like the only one that didn't smile. AJ Brown held it like and he I remember he said this offseason, he had one of the best quotes in the offseason. He said that the she's not loyal, talking about the Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
It's like just because we had her once doesn't mean we're gonna spin the block and get her again. So, you know, I like that mentality. I like the fact that they know they have to earn it again instead of thinking it should be given to them. They understand that. That's you know, but that's but the thing is, every single one of my teams, the second I start to believe, I get crushed. So I want I will say Philly over Buffalo, and just because I think Josh Allen finally conquers his AFC demons and finally conquers the AFC mountaintop. But that Philly defense is going to eat them alive. They don't have receivers. They like if that's the hypothetical we're going with, they don't have the receivers that can keep up with Philly's defense. They don't have clean route runners. They don't. James Cook's a good running back, but he's not going to get through that Eagles defense. Not with all those big boys in that front seven. That's just not happening. So like I don't think we destroy them like we did Kansas City. Like if that's going to be the matchup, but like you know what, I'll even give you a final score. I'll say 33-20.
Okay.
Uh, so I love my team. I believe in them. It's but the thing is, it's a soft Super Bowl prediction. It's not a hard one because I don't want to jinx this team, and I'm still. As long as we're still, getting towards the playoffs and we're in playoff position, I will never bet against Philly. But I want to see how if the first 6 weeks they have a really hard schedule. I need to see how the schedule goes. If they start out 4-2 or 5-1, I'll buy in to it all over again. But if it's going to be a struggle like it was or early last year, then I'm like, oh, then the Super Bowl hangover might be a thing. So I I want to believe so bad, and I love my team to death, and everybody that watches the show and knows us and knows me knows that. But I'm just it's like Shane said, it's so hard to repeat. It's so hard to do it again. Like New England did it, yeah, and the Chiefs did it, yeah. But is Philly really gonna repeat after the Chiefs just did it, a couple of years ago? So that's where I don't know. They have the players that can do it, but this is also a team where I'm like, yeah, in the last 10 years they've been one of the best franchises in football. The problem was the previous 80 years they couldn't get the job done. Like I'm still fearful that that's the franchise that I'm expecting, not the current iteration of the Eagles. So I don't know. I'll say Philly over Buffalo. It's not confident, but I'll say Philly over Buffalo.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you on Thursday night, September 4th for opening night. We're going Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday the first week right here. It's going to be a busy week. So we're going to take the week off, watch some college football, enjoy Bill Belichick's UNC debut. And all right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Look at us saying the same thing.
Oh, yeah.